Hello, 5 gamers. Today we're going to be watching some more COA matches. Apologies if my voice sounds a little weak. I've been streaming like all weekend, so I'm in like a bit of a recovery period today. But we're going to be watching some matches from the Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan division. We're watching set 2 of day 1, I believe. And before we get into it, I do actually want to roll some dices here, or some die here, because I have this little portrait frame coming up here, and I wanted to grab it on screen just to see what it says. From this logic path here. It says interesting stuff. Okay, I don't know if I want to read that, but I wasn't sure if it would have something interesting about Sculptor, so sure. Anyways, now we can get into the matches. Alright, so here we go. Here's today's set. We're gonna be watching ESP versus RD. Now I'm seeing Hajime coming out here and not Dream. I don't know if Dream has left RD. I don't know if Dream is playing this year, so maybe we won't see that Mad Eyes, unfortunately, this year. But I will say there is actually a storm going on right now outside, so I'm really crossing my fingers that my power won't go out, because I just saw like some really huge lightning. So I'm really hoping this recording doesn't get lost because of power outages. That would really suck. Anyway, it's gonna be Knight, Perfumer, I said Perfumer twice, Psychologist, and Gardener. So this is interesting because you have 3 tanks out here with Knight as the solo rescuer up against a Goatman here. And we're going to be seeing some interesting spawns now. We actually saw Omni with these spawns in the NAU qualifiers. These exact spawns, if I remember correctly. We're going to have Gardener in between 4th and 10th. Knight sitting at 3rd stop. Ada at 2nd. And then Perfumer at 2-story. I believe this was the exact same spawns Omni did versus a Goatman. Now, I don't understand why these spawns exist, but there is a reason for it. I believe the Goatman spawned top left in the Omni match. But I guess the Goatman's going to be spawning here. I don't really know what to expect from this one, but I can only assume ASP has some sort of plan here. Okay, now builds-wise, we actually see some interesting stuff here. Full Kite, Perfumer, and Gardener. Knee-jerk on the Psychologist. Tie knee-jerk on the Knight. While we have Trump Detention and Peepers from the Goatman. So, yeah, Peeper Goatman is really good, but we've seen a lot of different Goatman builds. You know, just throughout the times we've seen some Goatman. As we've seen Peepers, we've seen Abnormal, we've seen Blink, we've seen... have we seen Warp? I think we've seen Warp at least once. And yeah, I think the most common has been Blink. Although, again, I do think Peeper Goatman is extremely strong. So I feel like we will be seeing that more often. Because one of the biggest things that Goatman can do when he gets a chair is if he's even somewhat close to a Cypher, he can use up a cage and drop a Peeper on a Cypher and then just go back. And that can be really good for pressure. Because usually it takes a while for a survivor to leave the Cypher to break the Peeper. It takes about, you know, if you put it like away from the Cypher, you don't want to put it on top of the opponent. You want to put it like within a 5-second radius or so, or maybe like 3 seconds. So they have to walk to the Peeper, break it, and then come back, so it wastes even more time. And you waste less time. You waste less time going to the Cypher to drop the Peeper. So yeah, and then it significantly reduces the Cypher rush when they're coding on a Peeper. So that's really good. Now Goatman unfortunately cannot find the target here. So he won't be able to just like instantly make them explode. However, it doesn't really matter if Goatman can't find a target immediately, because as you can see, his cage meter is just rising up even more. Chasing the Knight first is going to be a little tough for the Goatman here. Blocks him off. He won't be able to use attacks. And look at all that. He uses tons of energy just to get that first hit onto the Knight. I don't know if I agree with that. He did counterplay the Knight perfectly, but he wasted a Peeper. And, oh, what the heck? What the heck? This is goofy. He's trying to stay out of the range of the Knight. I don't know why Knight's not... I don't know why Knight didn't use a helmet there. That was so weird. He had like 4 opportunities to use a helmet there, and he just didn't use it. I don't even think it was on... Yeah, it wasn't even on cooldown, so... I'm not really sure why he didn't do that. But either way, Knight is going to be going down here. Now, unfortunately for this team, they're losing their base rescuer here. Nobody else can really rescue with Tide. The person who has the strongest chance of doing so would probably be the Perfumer, who is coming in right now. Well, we'll see how this goes. Perfumer is like a decent counter to Goatman, because if you hit her while she's inside the cage, we'll see a double cage right here. He's gonna stall out this Perfume, and that was actually really well played. So I guess maybe double cage is the way to beat the Perfumer, maybe going forward. He charge attacks to beat the Knight helmet, so that's one really good thing that Hunters will do against the Knight. Is the second they're in range, they will charge attack before using a regular attack. That way, they can be farther away while still readying up a swing before he can attack predict. So that can be really good. And it looks like Perfumer has to break the Peeper. See how she's farther away from the Cypher? She has to break the Peeper, she has to walk to the Peeper, and then she has to come back afterwards. We're just going to get a simple hit here onto the Psychologist as well. I do think it probably would have been better if the Ada, or if the Goatman maybe just did a basic swing as opposed to a cage swing. Because now... Oh, never mind, Night went down. Okay, I was going to say, if Ada got 2 successful body blocks off, that means they were going to be able to, like, last out so many cages. But it looks like the Knight is going to be dying right here, and he's going to want to bring the Knight all the way to the Cypher Bridge. That way he can chase Perfumer next, because Perfumer is at half. And you don't want to give her the chance to heal up, because then she has 2 more Perfumes, and that will be a little annoying. She actually works on the Cypher here, which is a bit of a surprise. Maybe just wanted to tap it. She definitely was found out, and will instantly explode because Goatman is broken. Tries to use a Perfume, but it doesn't really do anything when she's at half health. Maybe she would try to mind game with it, but it's just a little too tricky. I do think we could see Perfumer being used against Goatman more, but it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard because Perfumer's kind of useless versus Hullabaloo, which is just a bit unfortunate. So having a Perfumer round 1 is just honestly not very viable. She's okay versus Opera Singer and Goatman, and that's okay, not like great, just okay. But versus Ivy, and then versus Hullabaloo, she's kind of just bad. So Perfumer's kind of just in like a tricky spot when it comes to coming out in round 1. And Psychologist can no longer rescue, which means Gardner has to rescue, and they do not have a final Cypher, really. They have 70% on their highest 5th Cypher, so that's going to be a bit tricky. This is likely going to be a 4 elimination for the Goatman. And he still has Trump card to work with too, so this is all but guaranteed a 4K for this Goatman. Once again, even though we have been seeing a lot of Goatman, or sorry, of Hullabaloo coming out in round 1, Goatman is still undeniably broke. Even if he isn't as broken as Hullabaloo, he is still broken beyond belief. And it looks like the Gardner did get a bubble primed there, but the Perfumer will be dying here. There's the primed bubble. And she should be able to break the cage, sets up another cage, drops a Peeper, has this pallet to work with. But unfortunately, the Goatman body blocks her just in time from that pallet. And Matcha's Bird Gardener is going to be chaired here. Or will it may start slugging out? It really depends what this Goatman wants to do. It looks like he is going to start slugging out here. So we'll see. We'll see what he does here. Might just double cage across Moonlit. Let's see. He does have Peepers to help his slugging as well. But he knows Perfumer has to, or sorry, the Psychologist. He knows Psychologist has to move to this side of the map here. Otherwise, they'd be rotating into him. And it looks like he's assuming that she'll be over here. No Tinnitus means she has to move up from this direction. So yeah, Goatman's just a really good character spotting out people like this because he can just travel across the map so quickly. Not only are his cages good in chase, but they are good for just traveling across the map. Does finally pick up Tinnitus here. Does he see the trail though? Does not see the trail, looks for somebody hiding, and look at this beautiful Tinnitus tracking, and spots out the Ada. So she did a really good job of trying to hide so far, but against the Goatman, it's too difficult. So at this point, he knows the Gardner got up. All he has to do is waste the Gardner's self-heal, which he already's done, knock her down, and then go back for the Psychologist. So kind of just a rinse and repeat at this point. I will watch this out. Normally I like to skip Slugfest, but I will watch this out just because we haven't really seen too many Goatman Slugfest before. But in the future, I likely will start skipping these just because Slugfests aren't exactly the most entertaining thing of all time. We usually know how these end up going. So we do pick up Tinnitus here. All it's going to take is a bit of a Peeper drop or just scanning around here for the Survivor. Oh, no more Tinnitus, which means you know that she's in the corner. Yep, he should use the Tinnitus trick to know that she's in the corner here. I'm going to check over here. And then once she's not over here, you can triangulate the fact that she will be over here guaranteed. Doesn't see the trail, surprisingly. I am actually very surprised that this Goatman has yet to see the trail of the Gardner. And she's going to use this chance to try to get away. But Goatman will now finally know where she is. There's the bubble proc. We're going to see him block off that. And again. And death. Okay. Once again, Goatman is just so absolutely broke. He should have seen the Psychologist work on that Cypher. So at this point, Gardner has no self-heal. Psychologist has no self-heal. And he can just double cage fly all the way over. Yup. This is GG's. This is GG's. This is GG's for the GOAT. Although he is going to get a little bit lost here. He's going to warp over to the corner. Doesn't find the psychologist. And it looks like he's going to follow the exact same route that he did earlier. So Psych will actually have a chance to get to the other side of the map, which she has done. She has a chance to go to the other side of the map and go for the gardener. I also just am flickering on power right now, so I'm really, really hoping I don't lose power here. That would be very unfortunate. My lights are flickering in my room right as we speak. And I have to watch slug out gameplay from a Goatman. Okay, this I'll actually skip because like at this point he just doesn't know where she is. He's looking around, looking around. He picks her up. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Will the Psych get found out here? Yes, she will. But he has max energy, so it literally doesn't matter. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Okay, cage, and... Okay, they go through at the same time. Yes, sir. So now you should know where the gardener is. I'm going to skip through this a little bit because it's getting a bit long. There we go. Okay, now you found out the gardener. And that should be cooked. Wow, what a beautiful double cage, actually. I must say, that was a beautiful double cage. Blocking her off from the pallet and then TPing back. Beautiful start to this game for the Goatman. All right, so moving on to round 1, second half. It seems that West Seattle has already started losing their power, so I'm really crossing my fingers here that I'll be able to finish this set before my power goes out, or maybe it just won't go out at all. We're going to be seeing Puppet Knight, Wildling, and Seer, so 2 Knights in round 1 here from both sides, so very interesting. The decoding is a little bit slow on this team. I believe we have -40 here, and it looks like ESP is going to be choosing Hullabaloo over Goatman here for round 1. Now looking at spawns here, we're going to be seeing our regular standard rank spawns. We have Rescuer spawning Bridge with Wildling, Seer 2-story Puppet first. Although we're not going to be spawning 4-stop. It seems like 4-stop is not really what people want to go up against Hullabaloo and a Goatman. I'm not entirely sure the reason being, but maybe it's just a bit of a setup spawn. Maybe it's just a bit too weak of an area. It's really hard to say. But yeah, Hullabaloo can easily chase a Knight, I feel like. So we haven't seen the matchup before, but we're about to see it here for the very first time. It is going to be the standard build that we've been seeing recently with Hullabaloo, that of course being Trump into Peepers. We've got Tide on the Wildling, Full Kite Seer, Knight, and Puppeteer. So wow, everybody has Full Kite except for the Wildling. I mean, which makes sense. Wildling doesn't really need anything else. He has Boar, and Boar is broken, so... Yeah, I actually think we've seen too many Wildling versus Hullabaloo matchups either. So Knight versus Hullabaloo, and then Wildling versus Hullabaloo. It's going to be really interesting. We've seen a lot of Puppet versus Seer so far, but 2 of these characters haven't really had the chance to face off against Mr. Mike Gaming out over here. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what those matchups are going to be. I just think what's really interesting is just like so many characters that we used to see last year for Survivors aren't really coming out this year. For example, especially on Moonlit, Patient was a very, very common character that we'd see almost all the time. Patient versus Opera at 4-stop was a classic kite that I think we had seen more than any other kite replicated in like the entire game. Like it was always Patient versus Opera at 4th, and there were so many different possibilities that the Patient could go. There were so many different routes, and there was a lot of time where the Opera would do really well and get them down in 30 seconds, but there was a lot of time the Patients would 3-side for kite there, so it was a really interesting I guess like set of spawns. But surprisingly, it looks like Hullabaloo is going to be chasing out the Wildling first. Interesting. So funny thing is, Hullabaloo and Wildling actually have very similar walking speeds. And I actually haven't tested before if Wildling, while on Boar, if he takes damage while on Boar, if it counts to the Boar damage or if it will go through and hit him. Because I'm actually not sure. But we're about to see Wildling probably just Boar and then get immediately on top of the coaster here. Let's see, they're going to give him an owl. Well played, and the owl takes it. So, yeah, that was actually really well played here. Because now, the Wildling's going to get off here. The question is, can he survive another 20 seconds to get his Boar back? That's going to be the biggest thing here. He needs to survive until his Boar is back. And if he can do that, that's going to be a really, really good kite. We do see a double color being used here. He has to survive just a little bit longer, And one last thing is he has to make sure he doesn't get put in red by the time his boar is ready. So he's going to drop it here and hop on his boar. Maybe the Hullabaloo could have rotated into red. That would have canceled his boar, but now he's back on that boar, Wildling being broken as ever. And it looks as, yep, okay, it seems as if when the Wildling is hit, it just goes through the boar. So that's just another reason why Hullabaloo is just absolutely broken. Because unlike other hunters, his hits literally just directly counter Wildling's boar, which is just absolutely stupid. But still, that's going to be a 3-cipher kite from the Wildling. Ciphers are moving pretty fast since it was the Wildling decoding. But it seems as if Hullabaloo can actually chase Wildling. And if he can get a clone hit onto that Wildling, it's going to be a little harder because he moves so fast. But if he can get those, and Hullabaloos are evolving as we speak, Wildling will just not be a viable option. So now we know that Hullabaloo counters Wildling. It's just another reason why this character is just absolutely broken. There's just nothing that they can do. Now, it seems like Knight is going to pretend to get the rescue, but I don't think there's any possible way for him to get the rescue. Approaching this Hullabaloo on a map like Moonlit, it was just... It's practically asking to die. The only person who have a chance of getting in is probably Mercenary First Officer and Wildling himself. Knight, I don't think has the tools to make it in. Even though he's like a rescuer who should be able to approach the chair, while... the Knight just does not have enough resources to get to the chair. It's just not happening. He would have needed to be like at the chair, but approaching first stop chair is really difficult for something like a Knight. So we're going to see the Puppeteer take chase next, or is it the Seer? I think it's the Seer. Okay, Seer's gonna take next chase here. So the issue with this is that there's no owl. Puppeteer would have been a better chase for the survivors. Same with Knight. And it looks like the Hullabaloo is going to mess up his jump here, so the Seer is going to maintain a little bit of distance. Probably a bit of a saving grace right there. And that clone does miss, so Fashi a little, pardon me, a little unfortunate for him not getting a lot of these clones. Tries to fly over, but Fashi is very patient there. If only he was just as patient with his clones as he is waiting for the flywheel timing there. And that is going to be, of course, the Seer going down there. So Knight can now come in for this rescue, but they still are a little bit behind on ciphers. The Puppeteer is going to need to finish up first up and then make his way towards bridge or third. We do see ability being used, so that seals. And then, wow, beautiful prediction there from the Knight. And there's the sword rescue. And now Seer is going to be able to get away. Going to be chasing down the Knight here, though. I'm not entirely sure what the point of chasing the Knight here is. Tries to flywheel. Okay, there's an attack predict. But now he can use clone. And because he set up clone, it doesn't work. And because he's in red, he cannot use the second prediction. So yeah, Hullabaloo is just absolutely broken. Just proving that he is just absolutely broken beyond belief. If nothing else, just because of red. Red is absolutely overpowered. It completely invalidates your entire character if you get put in red. And that's really tricky. That's really tricky to deal with. Really tricky, really tough. So Knight goes down. And at this point, there is a chance. There is a chance. It depends on if Seer can get an owl. He's 50% away to an owl. I don't think he's going to be able to get it at this point. He's just raw kite. And right there, he's going to go down. So Hullabaloo's going to play this just like a Dead by Daylight kind of game where he just goes back and forth, back and forth. I've never played Dead by Daylight, but apparently like they just go back and forth, back and forth. They don't really camp. And that's exactly what the Hullabaloo can do right here. He can either keep chasing the Knight to force him off to the ciphers, or it looks like he's going to actually try to stuff the Puppeteer. He is put in red, but Puppeteer gets the puppet off, so there actually is going to be a way. Surprisingly, he's going to actually let this cipher get primed, which I don't understand why. There is no borrowed time, though, on any of these characters, though. So that's going to be another one of the big things. They're just going to have to straight pop here, no matter what. Yep, there's the pop. And nobody has borrowed time, obviously. Beautiful flower from the Seer and getting the owl back. Again, I do think Fashi maybe should have gone for the cipher instead. If he TP'd to the Knight, he could have shared the Knight and then maybe cut off the Puppeteer after wasting out that first Lewis. And then would have to work on bridge, which is even worse cipher. So they're actually going to get people out here versus Hullabaloo. I do think it would have been much better if he switched targets there to the Knight. Now, if he can get this Knight down in a very quick... very quickly, which is possible, he will be able to instantly TP to the Puppeteer. He has no more jumps, though. It looks like Knight is going to be able to make this. Maybe even make dungeon. Hold on. Stalemate. Can he make it? Flywheel? Ooh. Let's see it. Oh, that's tough. The only way was if he reacted, but his Hullabaloo swing is pretty fast and a little tricky to react to. Plus, if he got put in red, there was no other choice but to flywheel there. And that was tough, dude. That was tough. Still, well played, well played. They got one out, and that is the goal in round one, is just get one out at this point. I do think the Hullabaloo could have made some better decisions in that match, but still, well played from the survivors being able to get one out there. Moving on to round two, first half here. Hullabaloo is going to be banned. They're going to be global banning Goatman out here. So, Finn, Puppet, and the Morton brothers are coming out here for round two, first half. Banning out Seer, Cordy, Auntie, and Prisoner. Very, very standard bans out here. And Hajime's going to be rocking that Ivy. Ivy, of course, is the third best hunter right now, if you ask me. She's still very, very solid pick. Not as dominant as she used to be, but she is still absolutely a menace when it comes to this meta. Something I mentioned while live streaming this, but survivors have also stopped doing those really jank spawns versus Ivy. In the past, it seemed like they really wanted to spawn in like good areas or just really weird spawns, and I fully never understood. But it seems like they're going back to their regular spawns even versus an Ivy here, so that's something to make note of here. But we're going to be seeing Finn spawn Shack as Acrobat in the open. I believe it was Puppeteer in Factory, and then wilding out toward the right middle area, toward God Kite. So we're going to see Detention, Inso, Blink, Ivy, very standard. Knee Jerk on the Finn, Tide, Knee Jerk, Puppet, Full Kite, Acro, and then Tide on this Wildling here. So a couple Sui builds coming out here, along with a double Tide. This should be good for the survivors here. I mean, they do have a pretty solid team comp here. Finn is very, very good. Finn absolutely works almost every hunter except for Goatman. He only has one bad matchup. Puppeteer is viable versus every hunter. Not like the best character, but he is viable against every single hunter in the game. Acrobat is also viable against almost every single hunter in the game. He's just a very, very solid kiter. And then Wildling, I have heard that Wildling is very mid versus Ivy. Now, I've still seen Wildling come up versus Ivy quite a lot because he can still get to the chair. And he still is a very consistent rescuer, but it's weird that he's not also that good versus Ivy. It seems like FO is just a lot better in this meta. Even Grave. Grave has been on the rise. Grave has been a really good round one rescuer. It seems like rescuing is prioritized. Grave and Officer are the best two rescuers for round one. Seems even possibly Grave leading because Grave is very good versus Hullabaloo and Goatman. And then it seems like the first Officer is the best rescuer now when it comes to round two. So it seems that Mercenary, even though Mercenary will always be a respected rescuer, it seems that, oh, that's a really unfortunate lost mind game there from Finn. If his reaction time was a little bit better there, maybe, but it's hard to when you can't even look at the Ivy. But it's really crazy that Merc has kind of just fallen off here in this meta. We're going to see a spook, but the Finn does not get spooked by this Ivy. Well played indeed from this Finn here. And a Blink is about to be ready. If he can force out this Blink, I would say it's good. Okay, he forced out the Blink. Ciphers are absolutely atrocious right now, but at least he gets the Blink out, and that is something that's important here. So he has a chance to rebound because he has two balls. Again, though, that was a pretty bad kite from the Finn. He's going to need... Oh, setting up a tablet onto the Finn here. Interesting. We don't really see Ivies do that versus the target that they want to chase. Usually they will set up tablet. Oh, what the heck? Okay, I don't really know what that was. She forced the Wildling onto an early board, though, so maybe she's going to go for a Prez farm strategy here. Let's see. He's going to hit the Wildling right there. Oh, no, he got off the board at the worst time. Not all Wildlings, but always a Wildling. Oh, that is so unfortunate for ESP, and that's the game. That is the game. You get such an early down, and you stuff that rescue, that is the game. She now has full presence for this Puppeteer. Luckily, he is at 58, though. That is the one saving grace in this match, but this is going to be the game. Unfortunately, there is absolutely no possible way. Watch his TS, and then... Okay, never mind. Hits, Puppet goes toward... Yeah, the one saving grace here was that Puppeteer being able to get the rescue, but yeah, that is just extremely bad. We're going to see Finn attempt to use a ball here. for full presence. He's walking back into a different tablet, though. I don't know what he's thinking. He doesn't have flywheel. He's gonna go down. I don't know what this Finn was thinking. He's even gonna die with a ball still. That is tough, dude. Yeah, that TPing onto that wilding was actually quite a surprise. That strategy that we've seen from Ivy, we don't really see that too often, but maybe that's a viable strategy versus wildling specifically. And yeah, that's gonna be the game immediately. One person dead at 2 ciphers. That is extremely, extremely bad. Wildling is also forced off his board because full presence just cancels it, and that's the game. That is 100% going to be the game. I don't think I've ever seen an Ivy dominate this quickly, this dominantly, this fast. I know I just said the exact same thing, but said in 2 different ways. But how am I supposed to describe it, bro? How? And the Puppeteer gets greedy for the Cypher, and down they go. This has been the most dominant Ivy game I have seen in months. And a lot of it is due to survivor error. But even then, if this doesn't prove that Ivy is still a viable hunter, I don't know what does. She will always be viable until she keeps getting nerfed, of course. That was just oof. It was really the wilding. The Finn's kite was recoverable. Was it gonna be difficult? Sure, but it was recoverable. Once the wilding got stuffed though, that was it. That was the game. So much of the hunters now can stuff rescues, and I always say it. I've said it 1,000 times, and I'll continue to say it. The best way for a hunter to win is to stuff a rescue. That's it, just straight up. The best way for them to win is stuff a rescue. And so many hunters now can stuff rescues without even needing to try. Hullabaloo can stuff rescue like it's nothing, and Goatman can stuff rescues like it's nothing. They're just so great at preventing rescues. And even then, even if the rescues do get off, it takes so many resources from the survivors to make it happen. Acrobat does get blinked here. He's the only person who can rescue here, but the Yith is ready and full pres is ready, and they are both cooked here. She is going to swing at the Acrobat. Puppeteer is going to walk back. Will he even be able to make it to the Cypher? That is the question of the day. He does, or sorry, the pallet. He does make it to the pallet, so that's something, but she can share the Acrobat here, and then keep pressuring Cyphers with her Yith, and then TP back onto the puppet, and then just kill the puppet. So, yeah, at this point, it's just cooked. Wildling uses Tinnitus Masking, but it really doesn't matter. He gets on his board, and at this point, there's no chance. I mean, the survivors have to fight into the bitter end, but there is absolutely 0% chance I see of winning. The only way would be if Ivy's device disconnected, like my power might actually just go out here in just a second. The only way would be if the Ivy's phone died. I wonder if that's ever happened. Do you ever think somebody's phone has died mid-competition? That would have been so sad. Now, they surely all play on with the charger. Oh, a bit unfortunate there for the Ivy. Teleporting to the wrong tablet. That is still one thing that happens to Ivies a lot of the time, is they still misclick onto the tablets. Ivies have found the way to work around it, but it still does happen, and it can be very, very frustrating for Ivy players. But I guess it's just something that just happens now. And now, since the Acrobat is essentially dead, she can now start chasing the Wildling here, who could get on his board here. We'll see. He does get on his board, so now she's going to leave and switch targets to the Puppeteer. So they did somewhat recover their Cypher progress, but a lot of that is due to the fact that this team has very high survivability. But even then, once the Wildling's board is up, it is GG's. It is absolutely GG's. So yeah, Hunter domination in round 1 and round 2 is just what we're going to be seeing from now on. That's just how it's going to be. We see a full pres down onto the Puppeteer, and we're going to send the Yith after the Wildling now. We know we left him off here in Factory. We don't know exactly where he is, but we did leave him off in Factory. Looks like Ivy's going to be checking Factory here. Will we check upstairs? No, we're going to check the corner here first. The thing is, like, all she has to do, even if she loses the Wildling, if she can't find him, is she can always just call back the Yith and then possess the Puppeteer. Because once you possess one of the survivors, while the Yith is attached to them, you can see everybody's location, which is just absolutely insane. On top of Ivy's already extremely good kit, is the fact that you can just see the survivors' locations. That information alone is just essential, especially when you're trying to stuff rescues. But now we're just going to see Ivy chase the Wildling on foot for about 25 seconds until the board expires, and the second it dies, it's just going to be a simple down with blink, or in general a simple down. So Yeah, we've just seen this so many times. It looks like Ivy's actually going to be falling down here, interestingly enough. Cutting off the wildling here. Yeah, I mean, there's not really much that he can do. We might see a blink right here. Let's see. There's the blink, and there is the down onto the wildling. We might see a TP onto the puppet. No, we're going to chair wildling and then just instantly TP on puppet with full presence. It looks like that is going to be the plan. Because the wildling is not dead on chair, to my knowledge. I believe the wildling has only seen chair one time. There's the dungeon. Full pres, and the wildling, or sorry, the puppeteer can't even use his Lewis there, unfortunately. So, it was a good try, but Ivy was just too much for them, it seems. Now, moving on to round 2, second half. Goatman is being banned. Hullabaloo is global banned. We're seeing Wildling, Embalmer, Acro, and Merc banned. Interesting. And then Prisoner, Psychologist, Officer, and Antiquarian. Now this is a standard Ivy versus, or Ivy Opera comp. Kind of the standard stuff that we are going to be used to here. And we're going to be seeing an opera singer pick here. Okay, interestingly enough, this is actually quite interesting. ESP has been prioritizing the 2 chase hunters, that of course being Hullabaloo and opera singer, while RD has prioritized the map pressure hunters. I mean, Goatman's kind of just an all-rounder. He has extremely good chase as well, but it's just interesting that like they've opted for different strategies where ESP wants like the Hullabaloo and the opera, where RD wants the goat and the Ivy. It's pretty interesting. I don't know, interesting to think about. Spawns are looking pretty simple here, pretty classic spawns. Anti-Shack, Prisoner Factory, Psych to God Kite, and then Officer at the middle. I do believe we're going to see Opera chase a Psychologist here, most likely. Psych is pretty good in God Kite because she can delay first hit for quite a while, but the issue is once God Kite is used up, she doesn't really have anywhere else to go except for Factory, which the Prisoner will be there. And the Prisoner wants to stay in Factory for a long time. Whenever you spawn Prisoner in Factory, you usually want to keep him there for a long time because Prisoner likes giving out Cypher progress from a safe area, like Factory, Big Boat, etc. Because he can stay there for a majority of the match, probably like a lot longer, because he's giving away 48% of his Cypher progress to somebody else, and he can stay in that safe area. So that's why we see them stay there for so long. So it means that Psychologist will be stuck kiting in God Kite, and then the rescue will also happen in God Kite, it seems like here. So Detention Trump Blink is coming out here from the Opera, very standard build. We have 2 full kites, that of course being Antiquarian and the Prisoner, with a standard knee-jerk build from the Psychologist and Tideturner on that Officer here. So yeah, I guess the biggest thing of note here is just the Antiquarian, I guess, because Antiquarian isn't really let through too often against Opera Singer or Ivy. So I'm kind of curious to see what she'll be able to cook up here in this match. And here we go. The match has begun. And as I thought, is going to be chasing the Psychologist here into God Kite. We do see, of course, do see the, I think it's the Silver Knight. Is that what Ada's skin is called? I don't know. It's the Knight Ada. Really cool skin, if you ask me. One of my favorite Ada skins. Just because she looks so gosh darn cool with that armor. They need to do more like armor-based skins. That's why I thought Knight was so good. So, decent delay at the first hit here. Not the best, but she did make it a TP hit. She did make Opera use up her little dashback chattel thingy. That's one of the best things that you can do. If you can force out a hit from Opera Singer, try to make it one of those hits. We do see a pallet game here. Fashi's flying on through that pallet like it's nothing. Ada has to try and do some 360s here. Doesn't really get it though. And since the first hit was not delayed long enough, it seems like Blink will be ready up just in time for this down. And the stress has wore out. We might see a TP here. We're hugging this pallet. We do have a pallet vault, and that's unfortunate from the Psychologist. Gets terror shocked. She really went for a lot with those 360s, but Fashi just went for a straight reaction there. Didn't even have to use up his blink. So not the greatest guy for the Psychologist. But 70% on every cipher is still pretty solid. That is why a 3-hit survivor will always be very good. An Officer is already here to feed Tinnitus. The biggest issue is the blink here. We do see a messed up dash from Fashi. I'm not really sure what happened there. But Officer is here a little early, pops the watch and stall for time. And interestingly enough, it seems like the Prisoner has not been pushing other ciphers. I believe the reason for this is, of course, they want Ada to go Factory. And they want to move out their Prisoner. So the Prisoner finished up Factory, and Ada is going to try to make it to Factory? No? It looks like she's going to actually stay in this corner and die out in this corner, while Fashi is going to get greedy here for the officer, and we don't even see a down. Sorry, we don't even see a pallet stun there, because Fashi respected that pallet so well. And now it's going to take a few seconds for Opera to find out the psychologist. It shouldn't take too long, though. You know she's in this area. And there we go. We have found out the psychologist here. So, I mean, that did buy a few extra seconds there. That is at least something. But now the antiquarian is going to have to come in for the rescue here. They might not even rescue. Honestly, they actually do help the officer. But officer actually does make that rescue. It's going to be very, very difficult, though. It's going to be very, very difficult getting this rescue. Especially with the timing. Let's see. If the psychologist doesn't have snooze. If she has snooze, it's going to be easier. Looks like it's actually going to be able to get that rescue without too much trouble here. Let's see. We are going to be chasing. Oh, there's the final tuning there. Very good. Using that final tuning, that's what you want to do as an officer player. Use the first two tunings of the watch to approach the chair and use the final one getting away. Psychologist, of course, though, has no rebound potential now that her stress is gone. And she is kind of just going to explode there. The biggest thing that Psychologist could have done there was attempt to force out the blink. Maybe just by pallet spamming or something. Unfortunately, though, no blink was forced out, which means that this officer still has a trait. And that is very, very dangerous. Officer is going to be waiting right here. She should pick up on the fact that he's here. Maybe she heard him silent vault. Let's see. That should be a down right here. That is going to be a very, very quick down onto that officer. And she is actually going to be leaving the officer, which is a little risky here. Antiquarian will have to pop her cipher here. I think she left it at 99 on purpose. Let's see. Wow, unfortunately getting the pallet stun. They should just pop here, actually. They should just pop because Auntie has no... Yeah, there's the pop. Auntie has no BT. Let's see here. Well, we see a 1, 2, 3. Watch her that stick. Oh, okay. Blink right here. No blink. Okay, she wants to get the down without blink so she can TP. Auntie, are we gonna use that flute? 1, 2. Okay, we're still kiting. Will we see an excitement swap, or will this antiquarian actually clutch out the draw for the team? Let's see. Dropping the pallet. What? No pallet drop, Auntie? What was that? Oh, what was that? And now you're in a rough situation. Although, officer, it looks like what's stalling out here. Prisoner. Oh, okay. Prisoner needs to kite this out. It's the only way. What officer should do is the officer should touch the gate while Auntie self-heals. Prisoner will be going down here, though. He has full kite and a shock, but he's in a really, really bad area. He needs to interrupt the dash right here. Beautiful, beautiful. That is what's going to secure this tie. That right there. If he did not mess up that dash right there, it would have been cooked. That is one of the best things that you can do as a prisoner player is interrupt the opera singer's dash, because if you get her before she gets to a shadow, it counts as her messing up a dash, which means she's an M1 hunter for 9 seconds. And that right there was a beautiful kite from the prisoner and going to end up being a draw. So well played from the Auntie and the prisoner there in the end game. And that is going to be the win for RD. So congratulations to RD making it through the first set. Very, very good. Or I guess the second set of the day, but you know, their first set. That was a well played set, honestly. It was kind of fun to see every single person from the top 4 come out. Goat, Hulla, Ivy, and then Opera. What a showcase of the top 4's abilities right now. Anyways, gamers, that is going to be it for today. I think we will do, from now on, we might start doing 2 sets per video going on forward, but I only want to do 1 set today just because my voice is a little weak and I want it to recover before I start taking on those bigger sets. So I apologize for the sound of my voice. I was a bit monotone today, but I do want to still push out some content. So thank you for understanding that. I am sorry that doesn't sound super great, but yeah, luckily power didn't go out. Hopefully it won't go out while I'm editing, and I can just upload this without too much trouble. So I'll see you later. Thanks for watching, but I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.